Greetings, fellow Earthling. Welcome to a podcast with me, Dave, and another thing, and Travis. We're going to be talking about the Great Reset, World War III, the Fourth Turning, and what is next for the U.S. of A. Hashtag Red Pill. So I've been going down this rabbit hole on YouTube, listening to these actual CIA former employees. And they said, this guy, John Stockwell, he said 75% of what the CIA does is propaganda. He went on to say that they have people in Hollywood that actually contribute to movie scripts, big blockbuster movie scripts, and have the power to edit them. He also said that they have plants in television doing the same thing, and wait for it, news stations. So I call CNN the CIA News Network.
Yeah. Yeah, and isn't it odd that every single time it seems like movies almost parrot? You look at commentators, different YouTube commentators on pop culture, and they'd be like, "Oh, it just looks like doesn't this rhyme with how things are going now or where things are headed?" But at the same time, I mean, part of them they gotta condition you to be ready for what's coming so that they can have their way with you. And what better way than to make you go and pay your hard-earned money to go and watch their propaganda? And isn't it odd just how they're? I mean, how long ago until sci-fi movies with like ship implants and youth dystopias, and then all of a sudden we start finding out more and more of this stuff actually is a thing. I wouldn't be too shocked to find out that something like Hunger Games is actually happening.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah. It's just I forget where I read this, so maybe you do know the answer to this. But as far as things with New World Order, one of their things is they have to tell you about what's going on before they do it. It's part of like cultural belief. You look at things like The Simpsons, just a classic example of different things that are supposed to happen. 9/11.
Like, come on, that's beyond coincidence. Really? They've predicted how many outcomes of horrific things in a comedic way, introducing you to it. So in the back of your mind, you accept it more and you don't totally freak out. Right?
Yeah. I mean, look at the Donald Trump one.
It's familiar.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
And it makes people go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm sorry for cutting you off because I'm so fired up about this topic. I'm really enjoying this talk, bro. Birds of a feather. I get so passionate about this, and I want to circle back because I want peace. I want peace for everybody. I think every human being wants the same thing. They want shelter, they want food, they want somebody to love and to love them. But we're always pointing the fingers. Those people, they have a dictator. We need to start with pointing when you point your finger at somebody else, you got 3 pointing back at you. So let's look at our role, right?
Yep, I 100% agree with you. And also what you were saying about media things. I mean, everybody views themselves, more people than not view themselves as the hero of their own story. And so you create these things with their propaganda and stuff. How, no hero is made without some sort of a trial. And so they're pretty much make people, when you create your stereotypical Hollywood story, I mean, granted, every now and then you have something that diverts off, but you have your beginning, your crisis, you have your building up to your climax. Everyone gets excited, built along with it. They've dropped a bunch of information along the end. And then you have your resolution where everyone feels better about themselves. They see themselves as the hero. They see themselves as the main character of their own story. Because ultimately, I mean, that's, as human beings, that's all we have the ability to perceive with is just our own selves within the world around us. And it makes people excited and glorifies these things. And then people get, you sell them the stories of look how great these things can be within their propaganda. And it makes people less objective to it.
Yeah. Wait, are you talking about the movie Rocky IV? Right? He fights the big evil Russian guy.
Yep. And everybody can change.
Hey, we got 5 messages. Let's run through these.
Yeah, buddy.
And Donald Trump was an advocate against that shit with her. He's like, if you're going to go over there and destabilize the country, you need to control the oil. Otherwise, you're going to leave them to control the oil. And then what? Now you got unlimited funds for terrorists to be funded. And exactly what happened. Exactly what happened.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Sir, you've got some great comments. I would appreciate it if you would share this talk because people need to hear what you're saying, and hopefully they'll dig what we're saying as well.
You know what I find genius? They made an invisible terrorist in the name of Corona, because it can be with you right now, and you can be responsible for killing your family. Grandma's gonna die because you got Corona. Better get your jab. No, I'll pass. But that's what it is. It is ingenious, invisible terrorist, right?
Yeah, just a quick interjection there. I was pressured by my family to get the jab, so I'm double vaccinated, not because I wanted to, not because I believe in it, but because none of my family members would let me come over if I didn't. I was ostracized from Christmas, from Thanksgiving, from Easter, Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, they just pulled out of Afghanistan and left them a whole barrage of military equipment. Funded it all. There's your payment. Goodbye. Now come kill us because you hate us, right? Because we ravish your country and all that shit. Because they're globalists. These aren't American governments. This is not our government. These are globalists. The United Nations, if you define it to me, means one world government. It's already in place, dumbasses. We are so dumb. Not us right here, but you know what I mean. I mean we. The dumb we.
Right, and that's by design as well, right? They did away with free college education in the 70s. Why? Reagan's head aide, when he was governor of California, told Reagan, Mr. President, unless we do away with this free college education, we're going to end up with an overeducated workforce and nobody to man the factories. Well, now we got no factories, and we got a nation full of idiots who aren't capable of critical thinking because that's a college class.
Yep, and on top of that.
Wait till they start signing up to, go to space. And then they're gonna say, okay, we need to plug you in with the Neuralink, right? And we're gonna sedate you, because the trip's gonna take a long time. We'll wake you up when you get there. And when they sedate you, they plug you into the Neuralink, and it's just like the Matrix. In your mind, you are on Mars or Total Recall, whatever. But you're really in some pod somewhere in a warehouse, just draining or creating energy like a battery, like a human battery.
There you go. And the Matrix introduced us to this whole concept and made it look cool, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ironically enough, we have red pill in the title.
And then on top of that, a couple things he said. I forgot my first point, but secondly, as far as college and stuff like that, you've had plenty of CIA get recruited from colleges, and then B on top of that get their fingers involved with it, and so it turns just into another form of propaganda, and ultimately propaganda is just social conditioning. Yeah, and so
this guy John Stockwell described how he was recruited and how they escalated his role, and he eventually became an assassin and leading operations in Angola and Vietnam.
Yeah, one more thing, two more things I want to point out. Have you seen the TV series Chuck from early 2000s to 2010s?
No.
But okay, well, action comedy thing involving spies, CIA, NSA, FBI, and all that other stuff. Comedy, made it fun, made it cool. But one thing they do drop out in a couple instances is, oh yeah, their main recruiting is over in Stanford, and then of course you have to make a comedy, you have to make it fun, you have to make it so people can swallow their BS medicine and stuff. But like I said, the great thing about lies is there's always a little bit of truth in them. And as far as his first point that he pointed out on there, I want to say, like, what we talked about with this next world war, how it being the U.S. versus Russia, China, and all these other faces. You have the what they want you to view. I believe that's called. I'm probably mispronouncing it. Cassius Bailey.
Right.
The propaganda you
I think
feed
it's
within.
Belli.
Belli, thank you. But on the outside, ultimately, what this is going to come down to is nationalist people who love themselves, their culture, their country, versus globalists.
Yep, you got
That's
it.
ultimately the pit of all fights.
And oddly enough, we're taking out the countries that would tank the dollar, right? Iran, China, and Russia. You know,
Mm-hmm.
ironically enough. It's just a side note. I watched a documentary recently about how China is the most miraculous example of lifting people out of poverty. Since 1949, they've done a better job than anybody on the planet. Guess the next best country at lifting their own people out of poverty? Oh, Russia.
Yeah, it's amazing how when you get rid of and kill all the poor people, and then also simply force everyone to be poor, you don't really have too much of a say, do you?
That's right. Look at
That's
our
like,
prison system. Nonviolent drug offenders doing many, many years in jail. Why is that? Oh,
mhm.
they're slave labor.
Yep. It's an amazing way you go. You get work done, and at the same time, where was I going at this point? Yeah, you have it's kind of like you look at eugenics, countries that have gone and thrown eugenics into things and be like, we have officially managed to cure and get rid of autism. There's no autism and there is no Down syndrome in our country. Well, no, you just killed everybody that had it.
Right. And maybe you weren't using vaccines that had aluminum as a preservative in them. Oh, just a thought.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing how
Um,
like we create solutions to our problems, and the best ones that they use are always ones that, yeah, it's a solution to this problem. Oh, but look, it created a problem, and now all of a sudden, I think it's Pfizer's working on after seeing they're putting patents on a lot of heart pills and heart medication because we cured one problem, and let's get on with fighting the next big fight.
myocarditis. Guess what?
Yep.
In the community I live in, Sonoma County, California, oddly enough, after the myocarditis research came out, now there's an electronic billboard on the freeway. Well, it's always been there, but now there's an ad: free heart testing for men 12 to 25. Huh. Funny coincidence.
Yeah. It's amazing how it's been safe, effective, and we have long-term research. But at the same time, they've been my grandparents, both of them, got double jabbed and boosted, and they've been asked to participate in surveys about how things have been going. Is there any side effects? We know it's safe, but just check it in.
Yeah, we know it's safe, but we need to conduct more research. And that leads me to the government allowed Pfizer to keep their research, their in-house research. They don't have to release it for 75 years. That means everybody who got the jab will be dead, right?
Yeah. Period. But yeah,
So
one way or another.
If it was what we're being told, they would release the research.
Oh yeah, they would be touting it. That would be their main propaganda form to get people to participate.
Right. It would be the best sales method available. So I'm not saying what's happening. I'm just hypothesizing on possibilities. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll never be able to know because we're not on in crowd as it is.
That's it. Have you ever seen the movie The Coming War with China documentary?
I have not. I've heard about it, but I haven't gotten a chance to see that. Where's that streaming on?
You can get it on YouTube. Yeah. It's fascinating, complete mind blow. And it shows how basically we've wanted to go to war with China since the 50s and just we don't have an excuse. But then it also shows the hypocrisy of us talking about human rights and this and that, because we did a majority of our nuclear testing, or at least a lot of it, was done in the South Pacific, the Marshall Islands. We made one whole island uninhabitable completely, and we evacuated it beforehand. But the neighboring island, we left those people there, and they're all dead from cancer now. And we studied the effects on them like they were cattle.
Yeah. Yeah. You will ultimately be of some use to them, whether you are in the way or you are on their side. They will find a use for you.
Yep. Whether it's a useful idiot, a lab rat, or a future leader. Pete Buttigieg, AOC. I forgot what the organization is, but I watched this. I'm a fiend for documentary. I feel if I'm going to sit down and watch something, I should learn something from it, right? So it's hard for me to just watch like an escapism movie. I need to learn something if I'm going to sit down for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And then usually I end up going down the rabbit hole and I'm sitting there for 4 hours. And then I go, oh my God, I got to turn it off. But this one revealed, and I don't have the facts on it, so I'll have to circle back and DM you on that. But it was fascinating. It was saying that there's a global research forum or something, basically like a Schwab type outfit that is grooming and picking all these future quote unquote progressive leaders, and that they've signed on to the plan. And that's why they're allowed to speak. Because if you notice, AOC came in guns blazing. We're going to impeach Nancy Pelosi. We're going to do bap. Now what's she talking about?
She's playing ball.
She goes on and does feel-good stuff. She was like holding a puppy in a cemetery. The last post I saw, like just heartstrings, tugging on your heartstrings.
Yep, and she's just playing ball the entire time. Also, I mean, I know the two outsiders in 2016 were Sanders and Trump. Trump hit his way in and beat the tar out of the Republican Party. That's the one thing I love about him is not only did he kick it to and stick it to two different parties, but the party that he was within, he rubbed the dirt deep into their wounds. And it did it need it, because I mean, what we were looking at, ultimately it was supposed to be Jeb. Really. I think that's honestly who was supposed to get it. Again, syndicate crime family. What we want, the Clintons or the Bushes, pick. Either way, we win. But and then you had Sanders, and they were able to force him out, kick him out, and then he comes back around on his second time. They go to do it again, but ultimately he lost a decent enough chunk of his base because he just pretty much he bent and said, "This is my only chance to be able to get in," and started playing ball. I think begrudgingly, but he started playing ball, and people started to see through that, unfortunately. And
I mean, Bernie Sanders had the ability at a moment in time. He could have walked, started a third party, and won. He had massive people. He had Democrats, Republicans, and most importantly, the largest block of voters, non-voters, 100 million people. This is what we're not told. We're told we have to vote for the lesser of two evils because otherwise we're going to get major evil. Bullshit. We need to get something that's actually that people can stand behind. And those 100 million non-voters, if they voted, boom, it doesn't matter how many people vote Democratic or Republican. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump fan, but I do love that he shook it up, right? And the reason I didn't vote for Hillary is because I wasn't going to play that game anymore of lesser of two evils. And I figured if he does win, it'll reveal the house of cards and things will go to shit faster. And look what happened.
And boy, did it ever. I don't think he'll be, I favor him for two reasons. Number one, for just, you gotta love a good underdog fight. And boy, that was it. But like you said, he shook it up, he revealed things. And so whether ultimately that was our only shot, at least people can go in and face whatever future that we may face and knowing, okay, well, you know what? We finally saw what it was. We looked our demise in the eye. or he's just simply going to be the one who did shake things up, who pulled the mask off of both parties, and exposed the Republicans, exposed the Democrats, exposed the Uniparty, exposed a lot of people on this, not the Great Reset, what's it on, World Economic Forum, NATO,
Yep.
all of those people. He pulled that mask off. And so I put him as one of the greats on simply for, even if he hasn't done much of anything else or doesn't ever come back and doesn't do anything else, he has at least allowed everybody a clear view as to see, aha, that's who you are. That's who this is. That's what's going on. And that's why we're seeing the results that we do. Even if he sees nothing else, you weren't hearing people, you weren't seeing the exposed. You were very much in the minority. You were a fringe minority group. If you were talking about how the news was fake up in there, he exposed people in the CIA. He exposed the news. He exposed both parties. He exposed world leaders, and then he exposed the military complex when he just goes, fine, we'll stay, but we'll we're going to pull out, but we'll at least leave enough there to guard the oil. That's what you guys want, right? You want the oil. And he said the quiet part out loud. So either he is the first one to shake it up and then bring in somebody who will actually make a big change, or ultimately they short up and make sure that nothing like this ever happens again. So
well, exactly, because if he did bring in somebody, if anybody rose that was going to make major change, then pop, 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 they go down like the people you mentioned, like Kennedy, like no, not many people know that there was a planned coup in this country against was it FDR that brought in the New Deal?
Yeah, FDR started it. I don't know if he officially did. But
okay, so not many people know that there was an organized coup to overthrow our government. And they approached this guy, General Smedley Butler, the most decorated Marine in history up until that point. But they didn't count on him being a true patriot, and he outed the scheme, right? But he was approached to lead a coup against our own president.
Yep. And it's I honestly would not be too shocked to hear if that was the same story for Oswald.
Right. And I want to break down for people who aren't aware and don't, think that we're off on some conspiracy, pie in the sky thing. Look up these different groups: the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the Carlyle Group. These are massive international groups that basically pick all the world's leaders, right? Or if you make it to be a world leader and aren't on that list, then you're going to get assassinated.
Yep. That's what they did with Gaddafi, basically. I mean, just talking about a non-U.S. people. I mean, if you want to break it down into international, there's your instance with Gaddafi.
Yeah, and let me talk on Gaddafi a little bit more. So he was in the midst of this massive construction project, which he was calling the eighth wonder of the world. It was the biggest construction project in the history of the world. He was doing pipelines for water to bring water, because there's a massive water reserve under the Saudi Arabian desert, and or I forget which desert, but the massive desert over there. He was pulling water from the aquifer, and he was going to turn it into the Fertile Crescent and major food production. The U.S. military bombed that, and our explanation was, well, we don't know that he's not going to use it to transport weapons, right? Come on. With radar, you could see that it's water, not weapons. Come on.
Mm-hmm. And that ultimately birthed the famous quote from Hillary Clinton: "We came, we saw, he died."
Yeah. And
she summed it up perfectly.
And did we care about bringing democracy or a better quality of life to Libya? Well, maybe not, because now they have open air slave markets right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, they really don't care. At that point, they're going, well, it's not our country. At that point, you want to be a non-intervention. You're only an interventionist when it benefits you, when it pushes the elitist agenda.
The agenda. Yeah, the agenda. Man, this has been a great talk, bro. I probably got to wrap it up in a few minutes. But I want to thank the listeners, Mrs. Glass, May the Poet, what's going on? You come too, and Zancia, what's going on?
Yeah, you come.
We got one message. Let me go ahead and play this message real quick.
Remember when they first started installing the chips on our debit cards? And we're getting conditioned with the whole chip, right? That was part of their engineering. Oh, and the injection is to get comfortable with a needle, and then we're just going to put a little tiny rice green chip right under your skin on your right hand. Be able to pay your bills, show your ID. Be great. Clock into work, start your car. Be awesome. Everybody's going to be signing up. Hell yeah. Oh, we forgot to mention there's a cyanide capsule in it, so don't fuck up or we'll kill you.
I don't even think they have to put the cyanide capsule in it, but because they could just turn it off, and then you don't have access to your bank account, to your medical, to your driver's license, right? And to people who think this is pie in the sky, there was a family in Florida that volunteered to be the first people to have that microchip in put in their skin, and it's exactly where he said, between your thumb and forefinger on the right hand.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, like we said before, with Neuralinking and stuff, it used to be back in the day that they would talk about how they would have to try and put some sort of a cyanide thing in there. But you get to Neuralink, granted, you might not have MS or anything else, but I mean, you can simply turn it all off.
Yeah, or you might have an instant aneurysm, right? Oh.
Yep. I'm sorry, just a little glitch going through a software update.
No worries, but I was going to say, or you might have an aneurysm created by the Neuralink, which gives you brain hemorrhage and you're dead.
Yeah, there's a ton of ways to do it.
Yeah, million ways to skin a cat. We got Zancia coming in hot with a message.
So, Dave, what do they have for this open market slave for security? Question mark. I want to know.
Yeah, look it up, buddy. Look it up.
So first of all, Dave, my first question was, where are these open slave markets in
Libya?
In whatchamacallit, and what kind of security they got? Because that's fucking stupid. And also, that no way am I getting fucking chip put in my hand. Government's gonna kiss my ass on that one, even if it is me. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. They're starting baby steps towards it. So in California right now, they have what's called the Open ID or something like this. So it's a new driver's license that does contain all of your personal information. And if you opt out of that, which I did, I can't fly on a plane. But I haven't flown on a plane in a long time, so fuck it. If I'm gonna go anywhere, I'll drive.
Yeah. On top of that, I mean, I think 2020 into 2021 was a very big social experiment. Like I'm not sure how you say your name, Zancia.
Yeah.
Pointed out. Fuck that. I won't ever do it. Dave, and you said you begrudgingly got the jab, and the one thing more powerful than government is going to be culture and family. So do you want to be a pariah, or do you want to be with everyone else? I mean, that's kind of why the big thing about the metaverse is so scary is, the government might not force you to be on it or something, but if all your friends are on it, I mean, look at social media. I've had the hardest time maintaining friends after I broke off of social media. I've given people my number. I've, called, I've texted, and people just really don't care as much unless if you're on social media. The last 2-3 years have really exacerbated everything. But yeah, you're either you're going to be in on it or you're going to be a pariah and not be able to partake in anything. And I hope you are a professional nomad at that point.
Right. I mean, yeah, you nailed it. I was a pariah from my family. My mom has gone so far, actually, recently to say, I'm worried about you. I think you're going right. Like, she thinks I'm becoming right wing. Like, no, I'm hardcore left. Everything else has moved right, so now I look like an extremist or whatever.
Yeah, shoot, even the right has gone left. Look at the right 20 years ago, and the vast majority of them were anti-abortion. Almost all of them were anti-marijuana. Every single one of them, basically, I don't want to say all of them, but let's face it, almost all of them, all noteworthy, maybe fraction of a percent, were anti-homosexuality. And now look at them; they've moved to the left on all of those issues. It hasn't been this shift has only been going in one direction. It's like that old meme and that old joke going about how eventually the right wing will go and be like, "Well, I'm a Karl Marx conservative." I mean, everything's going to keep shifting, and so that way eventually you're going to pull everyone in. This change has been going only one direction, and so when you either stand your ground or you do a little research in history and form your own opinion, and view as your country first, not necessarily America. I know we got listeners all around the world here that participate in the stereo, but maybe England first, maybe people over in Russia first, people in Ukraine first. Everybody just saying like, hold on, my culture, my people, my family, me first, and you won't go wrong with. You can't have a great reset in a world without borders if you're not going to go and destroy any sort of a culture. You have to wreck everybody's culture and bring it all under one umbrella so you can just have one control.
Thank you. Yeah. New World Order, and the military arm of that is NATO, right?
Yep.
To enforce that.
Yep.
I got to start wrapping it up here. I got a meeting at 5, but man, I've really, really enjoyed this, Travis. I think this should be part 1 of many conversations.
I agree, buddy. Let's talk here after you're done with things with whatever meeting you're doing, and let's start scheduling some talks further out.
Let's do it. And let's go ahead and run through these 2 messages, and then whatever kind of closing statement you want.
All right.
What is our culture right now? We've got stupid, idiotic movie stars and fucking hip hopsters that are fucking stupid, dumbass rappers that have no talent. We've got people who can't act, morons in political office, idiots being elected for governors, and people who freaking can't stand up for their own moral values, and people who just sit there and are like, I don't know, and can't make a decision. As far as I'm concerned, I'm already a standout person because I can do those kind of things. I have common sense too, believe it or not. So yeah, it is kind of scary, isn't it? And then the question is what do you ask about our children for the future? Question mark.
Xanthia, I think your disagreement is a complete just face value, just looking at what we have. Yeah, you're right. We don't have a culture, and the only when you said what culture, that's how you destroy it. You cheapen the crap. Everything becomes, we need to get rid. When I say we, I'm talking about, them higher powers have this view of we need to go and we need to destroy everybody's culture. And, what you're pointing out in America is really for countries that are first and second world. They're all going through that exact same thing, too, to just absolutely wreck it with crap shows and make everything just cheap rewind, just shot out, and make people you need to hate for them to get what they want. You need to hate your own culture, and so that they can destroy it. You need to be their pariah. We don't create any culture anymore. We don't. It used to be our main export to the world was culture, and now everything is a sequel. Everything is a reboot. Everything is a remix. Mariah Carey was a big deal for making All I Want for Christmas Is You. And then what? Everything else was in the 50s on making original Christmas music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's talk about music. Like the old school R&B from the 70s, amazing, deep lyrical content. Now you got people like Cardi B promoting being a dumb hoe, if it's up, then it's up, then it's stuck. Like, really? That's a hit song? There's nothing there.
Yeah. Look at Green Day. I mean, people said that they were a sellout back in the day with American Idiot. And I'll tell you, that album has aged like a fine wine. The band, however, has aged like unpasteurized milk left out on the kitchen counter.
Yeah, I agree. That album was brilliant.
That's when they became a sellout afterwards, after the massive success from that album. But I mean, you look at as far as, yeah, like you said, music that has changed for culture and everything, and it's been a hell of a long time. Actually, I would say the unraveling phase, like I was talking about before, turning the unraveling, the one that comes right before the crisis, marked by, I believe, 9/11 was when we started that phase. And you look at them, that unraveling phase was the last phase of when you get culture built through. You had country that actually had great music. Country's gone to crap.
Yeah.
Country's become pretty much the exact same Cardi B, but with twang.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sappy, go nowhere, no message rock. What it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's be a part of the message. Be a part of the message,
right.
And make everything cheap and churned out.
Yep. Let me play another message from Xantia.
Moved because they realized, okay, we can do this and we can make money off it. They've also moved because they are like, hey, it's not a political hot button anymore. See, that's the point. Because I couldn't care what sex someone is or anything about that. Now people are taking these things like, they're taking all these movements and they're saying, okay, how can we exploit this and make money off it? That's why, like Bill Hicks said, if you're in purchasing or advertising, kill yourself. You are nothing but Satan's little helpers planting seeds. That's the one time I think I laughed my ass off so much and I said, sad but true sometimes.
Oh yeah, Bill Hicks was a genius. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Travis, what do you got?
Yeah, Dave, I'd say this has been a home run of a talk. Guys, if you like this talk, be sure to follow Dave, follow me, and stay tuned for more talks coming up for us. And you can follow me here on Stereo. I'm looking to hopefully within a few months, maybe a little bit more after that, be branching out into Anchor and possibly some other offshoot media platforms. But for now, you can find me on Stereo. It's been awesome getting to speak with you guys. Dave, closing comments.
Yeah, I agree. Best conversation I've had in a long time. Please, if you're digging what we're talking about here, please check out my podcast. It's on Anchor and 23 other platforms, basically every podcast platform, and in 46 countries. I talk about a lot of stuff like this. Much love to everybody listening. Let's go ahead and play Xantia's last message, and we can close out. Oh, by the way, I designed a line of clothing and products called the Peace Line because I want to promote world peace. So you can check that out on my Instagram. It's the link is in my bio. Here's Xantia.
There's been crap since the mid-'90s. Because there was that alternative scene back then, and then there was country started coming up with their stuff. Pretty much what happened is Garth Brooks came out in the 90s and everybody started copying him. That's right. People started copying him. That's your Clint Blacks, and then people started copying that. All that. All that. Yes, your Kenny Chesney and all that stuff. They're all copies of Garth Brooks. That's all they are, repeated copies of Garth Brooks. Anyway, I'm done because you guys got to go.
The greatest form of flattery is imitation, but there's a point where that just becomes a loss of identity and ultimately cultural collapse.
Absolutely, and I'll just close with this. If the CIA has a role in writing and editing scripts, yeah, come on, do we not think that they got their fingers in the music industry?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and the only
right.
I had another point, but let's save it for another talk. Dave, it's been awesome getting to chat with you, man. I look forward to more of these.
Absolutely. Much love, brother. We are birds of a feather, and let's continue to bring the truth to the people.
Amen. All right, buddy. You take care of yourself.
Peace out, everybody. Everybody have a wonderful day and fight for peace. Much love.
Much love to you all.